I believe in many redrafts. But, okay, so. A fresh red sign has appeared overnight. They've driven it into the verge, nearer to the roadside than the hedge. The wooden stake is fraying where they've pounded it with a mallet. I imagine blows vibrating through the frozen earth, disturbing everything under the soil. We didn't hear hammering from the caravan, but that's probably for the best. Sammy can't afford to be arrested again. I squeeze a corner of the corrugated plastic, testing its strength. 2 cable ties hold the board in place, their stiff black tails pointing towards the farm, our farm. I decide to come back later with a knife, to sever the ties and remove the board. This sign can go alongside the old sign, faded to pink with peeling laminate, in the gap between the barn and the boundary wall. I scramble back over our gate, the heavy padlock and chain rattling beneath me. The outside tap is running slow despite the morning's thaw, and my drum is still only halfway full. The water coughs and splutters, spraying onto the wall behind. A long streak of algae marks the weeks, months, years now that I've been collecting water here. At eye height in front of me, the same old blistered plywood blocks my view of the kitchen. Not for the first time, I consider tearing it off with my hands, filling my fingers with splinters just to get a look inside. The deep oil-stained sink will still be there, just below the window, even if the soap and scrubbing brush are long gone. The 2 floor tiles will still be cracked, from where Dad dropped his spanner after fixing the generator that time. No food though, no furniture. Too impatient to wait, I shut off the tap and hitched the drum onto my hip. The metal digs into my flesh, the water swirling off balance as I hurry across the yard and into the field beyond. No buds are showing yet, not even the scissor tips of snowdrops, the bulbs Mum planted alongside the orchard wall. At this time of year, when the hedgerow is stripped of leaves, you can see the caravan from a fair way off. It shows up white through the shade of hawthorn and hazel. All winter, I've been saying we should tow it further into the woods, but the tyres are flat and the wheel rims bedded in leaves. Sammy won't bring his polo back here as a tow. He's afraid the car will get stuck and him with it. That would mean no work at the abattoir, no regular wage coming in at all. As I wade through the tangled grass, my jeans grow heavy with dew and rasp around my ankles. Water finds the cracks in my boots and brambles claw my legs. I head for the gap in the hedge, in the furthest corner of the field. It is large enough for a tractor to pass through, and yet invisible from a distance, lost in a hash of brown, muddy green. A few meters from the caravan, I ditch the water drum and start to jog. The door opens with its usual groan and then slams shut behind me. The heap of covers I know to be Sammy doesn't move, so I lift a corner and tug on his leg. He groans and rolls away, pulling the tangle with him. Judging by the stale, sour smell in here, he's had another heavy night at the pub. "Sammy," I say, shoving the lump of him. "Wake up! Wake up!" He groans again, mumbling something. This time I pull the covers right off, leaving him bare except for his boxers. He sits up then, skinny and shivering with the cold. "All right, Jesus, I'm awake," he says, grabbing a blanket and pulling it to his chin. "What's happened? Are you okay?" He shuffles back and leans against the window. Black hair sticks to the condensation as he slumps down a little, eyes closed. His heavy breaths continue to sour the air. I am suddenly reluctant to speak, as though telling Sammy will make the facts more real. "There's a new sign out front," I say. "Oh yeah? Well, I shouldn't worry." Sammy massages his eyes. "They put a new one up last January too, remember? It won't change anything. The estate agent is just trying to look busy." It says sold. Sammy cracks open one bloodshot eye, the other still cupped in his hand. He looks more gaunt than usual today, with cheekbones pushing against papery skin and sharp lines either side of his mouth. You wouldn't think he was only 23, only 4 years older than me. "You sure?" he asks. "Of course I'm sure." I lower myself onto the foam mattress. What's not to be sure about? At my feet are 3 piles of clothes, dirty, clean, and almost clean. I fish a grey jumper, one of mine originally, from the almost clean pile and chuck it at Sammy. He pulls it on with a grunt of thanks, stretching out the sleeves to cover his wrists. The white scar on his left hand disappears under a cuff. He rubs his eyes again, leaving them redder than before. To keep my hands from shaking, I jump to my feet and begin making breakfast. The bag of sliced white spins open as I hang it over the counter. We're out of marge, so I double up and jam instead. Here, I thrust a sandwich at Sammy, then take a bite of my own. The bread is stale and sticks to the roof of my mouth. It clots in my throat with each swallow. I try to think, to imagine what Dad would do now. He always found the loopholes, the ways of not doing what he was told to. I see him crouched on the bathroom floor with a tube of cyanacrylate, holding together the toe he'd sliced half off. Better to glue yourself up than trust a doctor. Maybe it's time to move on, suggests Sammy, his mouth full of bread paste. I mean, it's a pain in the arse when we're all sat up here, but you go if you want. That's not what I'm saying. He puts down the plate. I mean, we could both go, find somewhere else to stay. We've got options. I can't do that. I can't leave. Sammy frowns for a moment, then goes back to chewing his sandwich. Of course he doesn't understand. How could he, without knowing about the orchard, about the hours I spent there digging? It must have rained an inch for every foot I went down that day. Taking an almost clean sock, I wipe off a window and look out across the field. That pebble-dashed white building is where I lived my whole life up until the age of 17. On the good years, we raised 4,000 ducks in that barn. This farm is my home, and I won't trade it in for some council-run hostel for being monitored day and night. Not that they're likely to offer help again, not after last time. We should move the caravan, I say, drawing a finger down the wet glass, making the moisture bead and trickle. It's too obvious here. Sammy has closed his eyes again, the empty plate resting on his lap. All right, he shuffles down the bed, scattering crumbs as he does so. We will, I promise we will. Just let me get another hour of sleep, just one more hour of sleep first, and then we'll sort it. We're going to sort all of this out, I swear.